All right, and hello everyone. Thank you for joining us asynchronously for our third or even fourth community call of the month of April 2024. We've had a month of celebrations of the 20th anniversary, and those are not ending. They're going to continue throughout the year. But today I wanted to take us back into the whole Amplify area. So if you haven't been with us before, my name is Jennifer Britton. I'm the CEO and founder of an award-winning coaching skills training company called Potentials Realized. And we've spent the last 2 decades becoming a one-stop shop for all things group and teaching. Group and team coaching, not teaching, coaching. So I thought it would be fitting. We do calls on everything, but one of the areas that we're circling back to this month in a lot of our programs, Group Coaching Essentials, Team Coaching Essentials, is design. And so today's call is all about amplifying your design. And this is a whole phase. It deals with everything from the program structure to slides to how do you structure a call. So we actually, it's like knock my earphones out. We just spent probably 10-12 minutes actually checking in, because Stephanie and Mary Garrett are often here. So I, as a coach, want to check in. Hey, what are you doing? So just notice that like calls are not always a full call of whatever. I'm now slipping into training mode. And I want to share with you 5 considerations when you design your next group or team coaching activity. In saying that, I write about trademark bookends of the coaching conversation, right? The check-in and the checkout. And that's going to inform typically where we go and what steps people are taking. And I love seeing and hearing the action steps that people have been putting into practice. Sometimes we don't see our own movement. And so this is where group or team coaching touch points become, oh, actually I did do a lot, or I learned a lot, or I shifted a lot. So just notice that, even in design, even the act of having a call is enough in terms of design sometimes. In my own fashion as a writer, again, this is part of the Amplify process, which is Amplify Mastermind. There are going to be 2 intakes a year, traditionally, May and November. But, we're going to be spending 6 months together looking at this notion of what is it going to take to accelerate and amplify your work. And so today is the last one for this month, which is your coaching toolkit. What are some elements you want to think about when you think about the next thing you're going to do? So here at Potentials Realized, it's all about 3 things: trust, safety, connection, right? I was speaking earlier today to a group of coaches in Bengaluru, which is in India, and we were talking about a new piece of writing, which I'm not sure if I've embedded it. I may get into it today, but it's going to be part of my next book, which is called The 9 Nonads. 9 Nonads of Group Coaching, which is actually a whole sort of series of elements. But at the core of these 9 elements is, back to basics, trust, safety, and connection. So I say our 3 focus areas because it is really what everything builds from. If you can picture the book cover of Reconnecting Workspaces, it wasn't just, oh, I like the cover. There's an intentionality to it, right? Our work as a business is about working with leaders, teams, and businesses in amplifying what they do, in helping them have better conversations, in having, more connected conversations. And so we are in a world where, the dotted lines, many times we want to get to that solid trust, safety, and connection. So as you think about whatever you're preparing for or designing for, what are you building on? Is it the same foundation of trust, safety, connection? Is it something else? You as a business and you as a designer want to be clear on what's your focus, and everything will build onto that. So 3 focus areas. We're wrapping up our 20th celebrations. This is actually our month of May. So just want to spotlight a couple of things that are on the list. Team Coaching Essentials starts next on Monday, and that's going to be a 6-week journey. There is one quirky date on the 21st of May. which is going to be from 12 to 12:30 because we have a holiday here on the 20th. We are skipping the week of the 27th for those that celebrate Memorial Day. So if you're thinking of joining us for Team Coaching Essentials, we kick off Monday the 6th. We also have the twice a year, one of 2 times a year, where neuroscience learning and experiential approaches for team and group coaching is running. That's actually our 10th course on the pathway, but it's a la carte course. We launched it last year, and I know everywhere right now is science, but we did find that so many people are interested in understanding the science, the learning processes, and experiential practices behind mastery with this work. And that's why I wanted to do today's call, because there's a piece of that in what we're doing. This summer, I'm also going to be experimenting with day-and-a-half offerings of our typical 6-week programming. So a lot of people are changing up their summer schedule, and we're going to start those more intensive times with the Superpowers program, which is going to run Tuesday the 21st into Wednesday half day 22nd. We also, Ivana, date for group coaching essentials is
May 31st.
May 31st. So in the next iteration, you'll see group coaching essentials down here. I'm going to just put it in via annotation. And what time of day does it start?
10:15 to 11:45 a.m. Eastern.
So
and
that's our,
And it runs 5 straight weeks. So there's no skipping a week. So it runs from May 31st, and we wrap up right before Independence Day or Canada Day if you're in Canada.
Right to the end of June. There we go. That's group coaching essentials. So just note that, some are slowing down, but I'm also hearing from a lot of coaches, they're like speeding up till the summer when probably you'll take a break. So that's what we have on the go. You can scan the QR code down below. The other piece I've been hearing, I think a lot of people have been thinking about, do I put in for my application for the ACTC, the Advanced Credentialing Team Coaching? Many of you have been sort of slowly working to this, and I would want to just share, as with the ACTC, there are many pathways to your learning. Anything that you've taken with our programming is eligible because one of the pathways to learning is CCE. So if you've done group coaching essentials, team coaching essentials, even virtual facilitation essentials, as many of you did in 2020, 2021, as well as the more advanced courses, those can go towards your 60 hours. So just wanted to note that because I think a lot of people are now starting to think, December is when I want to get everything in by. And if that's you, book a call, right? Like we have supported more than a good handful. Like I haven't stopped to figure out how many. It's more than a dozen people who have now done their ACTC. Unlike an organization where they do it all in cohort learning, ours, of course, is CCE learning. And it means that you can take as you go and learn as you go. So book a call if you have questions about that, because I think it is something that is important with the evolving landscape of coaching. Certainly credentialing on all levels it's becoming a must. So today,
before we pass forward,
absolutely.
I believe practicum also fits for the ACTC because I know even Mary, Garrett, and Stephanie are trifecta alumni, so that fits. And then Stephanie also had a question about mentor coaching programs with us.
So for practicum, and the practicum is a great example. So thank you for highlighting that, right? Because part of what a sort of cohort-based program would have embedded already is practicum, right? As many of you know, that's just a standalone offering for us. So you will need that. In the ACTC, what is required is 5 hours of team coaching supervision. So this is leading to, Kathy and I started doing some calls about 1.5 years ago. Because of the complexity of team coaching, it's not just about having skills, which is more the mentor coaching layer. It's also about being able to refer to your work and have that reflective pause on how is my work with a group or a team going. ICF is nearing the end of not a review, but I think a research project that they're doing around coaching supervision. So I would expect maybe towards the end of the year, we're going to hear something more formally about distinguishing mentor coaching versus coaching supervision. For your mainstream credential, ACC, PCC, MCC, mentor coaching is going to continue to be a requirement. Different levels, different requirements. For ACTC, Advanced Credential and Team Coaching, coaching supervision is being added. So you need to complete 5 hours. Kathy and I do a first Thursday of every month, 12 to 1:30, and we're going to resume in September with that group. So really 5 hours you would do in about 3 or 4 calls with us in a group setting. Or you can hire here's the thing, you need to hire a trained team coaching supervisor, not just a coaching supervisor. It needs to be focused on the team. So again, book a call with me, because I think this is there's a lot of lack of clarity, shall we say, in the ecosystem of what's really needed. But great question, Mary Garrett. We will continue with our mentor coaching. The next main mentor coaching group will be, I think it's June 14th, a Friday morning, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern. And we've already got people signing up for it. So mentor coaching always caps at 6, typically, just so we get you to be a coach of the week. So if you're interested, anyone, reach out sooner rather than later, because it might indicate that we need to add a second one for the summer months. But June 14th to September 14th are the dates, Friday to Friday. All right, so let's talk a little bit, and we're going to keep this brief. So my watch has died. Let me go here. Let us talk choosing your next exercise. 5 things, just keeping it simple. Number 1, what is the purpose? What are you hoping will be created? And notice I say, what are you hoping will be created? Because it's got to be in light with your clients. Are they looking to expand possibilities, or are they looking to focus? Those are 2 different types of exercises that we're looking at. So when we think to purpose, it's also, what is the end result? And as we think to purpose, it's got to be defined by your group members. Now for Stephanie, though, Stephanie's working on an online course, right? You now are in the driver's seat of either guessing or doing a needs assessment around what the purpose is. And so I just want to highlight that while I'm framing this as group coaching, these 5 areas are key for any learning initiative: big, small, virtual, in-person, hybrid. Purpose should drive everything. And this is where you might do some vision work around what you hope people will leave with, why they're there, what's in it for them. Many of you have joined us in Group Coaching Essentials or Team Coaching Essentials with the design sprint. And so we talk a lot about this, getting people to think about what is that real purpose. But it's one of 5 things. So the other piece we want, especially as group or team coaches, is connection. In Reconnecting Workspaces, I didn't pull it in, the 6 layers of connection. How do you connect people with you as a coach, but how do you connect people with each other, right? Group coaching, it's as much about others as it is about you. We also want to connect people to what's outside their screen. So the value of coaching is, what is the action you're going to take after today's call? What are you going to do now? That's our 3rd layer of connection. The 4th layer of connection is, how are we using the platform, whether we're Zoom or Teams, to get people engaged? So Stephanie, you're doing on-demand learning, but even what action are you asking people to connect with, right? There's got to be a connection with what's in the platform, and number 5, what's off the screen. Okay, so layer 4, platform, layer 5, what's off the screen. And then we also want to think about, like, in the bigger picture, what relevance does this have for my life beyond just the learning ecosystem? So I think for design, a lot of coaches, learning professionals, I should really frame it as design for a couple of those layers, but not all 6. And if you want more on the 6 layers of connection, there's actually a longer call here in our YouTube channel, where I first introduced it in 2020, early 2021. So the 6 layers you'll find in Reconnecting Workspaces, my 2021 book. And that's going to segue into the next book of the series, which I'm working on this summer, which is an exercise book. So in fact, what you'll see today is sort of the foundation of the next book, which is coming at the end of the year. So blank screen for what's coming because it's not developed yet. It's in parts, but it's not fully woven together. The third piece we're going to be talking about in the NELA program, right? It's experiential. What is the experience you want to create? Live, virtual, on demand. And so this is where you're going to want to consider the ERGA. Just a reminder, if you haven't heard of that, we talk about it in Group Coaching Essentials. And ERGA comes from completely blanking. I'm hoping, Ivana, that you can think of the name. Kolb, David Kolb, Kolb's learning
Kolb,
experience.
David
Yeah, Kolb's, yeah, David Kolb's experiential learning cycle. He asserted in the 1950s, 60s that for learning to really take place, we need to have 4 things. We need to have an experience. Something happens. We do something. We come together. We then need to spend time to reflect on it. The reflection might be like at the end of our call, what's the one thing you learned today? Or what's the one takeaway? We also then want to generalize. How does this react or interface with my bigger world, my bigger reality? And finally, how will I apply it? So we're going to dive deeply into this in the NELA program. But in any great program, you're going to have programmatic supports on all 4 of those areas. We have an experience, we reflect on it. We need to generalize. How does this influence me as a parent, not just a leader? In what context does it relate to me? And then we, of course, have people go off and apply. And that's the heart of coaching, right? It's about doing something with what you're learning. It's not just about evoking awareness. It's also about taking action. So as you think about your process, your design, excuse me, what is that piece around the ERGA? So let me grab a drink. I'm going to get you to jot down what you would do on each of those 4 stages for yourself. Give me 1 minute as I grab a bottle of water off screen. Well, there we go. I'm muted. I'm unmuted now. I think the experiential piece is really for many the game changer. Anyone can design learning, AI can design learning, but what is the experience you want to create? Number 4, your superpowers. So we've done a lot of talk in other calls around your group and team coaching superpowers, and this is going to make you unique. It's going to make your programming unique. So think about who you are. Are you the catalytic firecracker that's bold and creating a lot of sparks? Are you the creative tool master that isn't represented in the color here, but it has, the tool master is purple, is weaving together all these things. Maybe you're the spiral lighthouse, creating that journey around the lighthouse. Or maybe you are the ecosystem connector, helping people connect and creating a unique experience because of connectivity. So as you design, think about that and notice I didn't talk to the grounded labyrinth, someone who is really good at creating a journey of depth, of pause, of reflection. So Steph, can I call on you because you're designing something right now? What superpower do you want to activate in this new program?
So, I've done the superpower test. and my superpower is the catalyst. So I do want to evoke that, sharing that with the people who take my course, so that my course is about aligning with your inner leader and the aspects of the depth you need to have with self-awareness and self-regulation, self-motivation. And I do want to design a group coaching element, kind of like the bonus add-on. So this is all getting my wheels turning. So I definitely want to kind of shine the light on how we can all reach our highest potential through this interior self-alignment.
I love that. And spoken like a true catalytic firecracker, right? The catalytic, how do we ignite the spark? How do we create combustion? Which always requires a couple of things coming together. So thank you for giving voice to that. And if you haven't taken the superpower quiz, you can head on over to bit.ly/GT coaching superpower. bit.ly/GT coaching superpower. And it's, it'll just take you 2 minutes, but you'll see a whole set. We have an Activate Your Group and Team Coaching Superpower 14 CCE program, where we actually take a deep dive into what are your primary, secondary, even tertiary styles. Because as I was sharing with a group of coaches earlier today, mastery is not about deepening in one. Mastery as a coach is, at least as a group and team coach, is about embracing all of them. So in my next iteration of this slide, I'm going to have all 5 superpower capes on the slide, because we need all of them. If we are not bringing it, then we need to actually think about partnering with someone else so that that's available in the realm of coaching many. And I think that could be a pretty significant piece. The final piece, of course, is, the diversity that exists within the room. So when we're coaching many, group or team, we want to think about the hybrid work styles. We want to think about, is this person a builder and likes to check it off and get something done? Is this person an innovative experimenter? They want to experiment and alchemize and iterate and, just do new things. Are they a visionary and are looking at, like, where are we going and what's on the map? Are they a culture wizard? i.e., are they really looking at who we are and how we do things here? Are they a connector, which is the bridge between here and there? The connector is, of course, the cousin in a workspace to the ecosystem connector. And in fact, there's a 6th style that isn't on this slide, which is that of the social convener. The social convener is a convener, right? They're a person who gathers people together to create change. And so the hybrid work styles are yet another quiz, but these are the styles of the people that we're working with. So when you're designing or choosing or crafting what you're going to do, you want to think about who is in the room. What are they? What are they needing? What are they resisting? What are they going to benefit from as well? And maybe the styles is actually number 1 on the list, right? I think it's what we usually talk to first. Who are you coaching and who are you supporting? What do you notice? There's a couple of layers to this styles conversation. Our design, but then helping people understand who they are naturally and what they need to dial up and dial back within their workplace relationships. Because that's where the conflict often happens, is in this realm of styles. So you might see it in the group. If you're working with a team, you're definitely going to see it playing out. And having a variety of intentional questions, practices, tools is valuable, right? I'm sort of layering this on. It's like, think about what you've got in your toolkit, because you all have tools. Coaches graduate with probably, 50 tools in their toolkit. So that is the 5. Again, styles, superpowers, experiential. We also had the blank for question I'm asking, connection, purpose, and there they are in their greatest sort of coloring. So again, we go into this more in Neela in our design sprints, but I know everyone's working on different projects right now, and you'll want to think about what you want to lead with. So to bring your voice in our last couple of minutes, what is the thing you want to lead with as you go forward with your next design project? And I'm not going to pick on Steph, but Steph, I know you have something live right now. You're working it. So Steph, what do you want to lead with? Which of these do you want to lead with? And when I say that, it might be the first filter that you do your next design work through.
So, I believe it's connection. So because in order to get people to engage with me and the work I'm trying to do, I need to foster connection with people. I need to consider all those layers, right? So that they trust me, that they'll feel safe in my learning environment. I need to make sure I build in some form of connection outside of the digital platform, whether it be a Facebook group, or I definitely want to have a group coaching buy-up, if you will, to the program so that people can join and then take it a little further. But I think there needs to also be an element of someplace for them to go while they're in the course, to also connect and engage. I don't know yet what that looks like, but it makes me think that I need to delve into that to make this a more meaningful experience for my audience.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. And again, like I think the heart of what we do as group and team coaches is connection. When that's there, all of these can be like a sort of like a hub. It's a spoke on the wheel, right? Or it's the hub on the wheel of the spokes. The rest are the spokes. Anyone else? What do you want to focus on? Rita, I saw you on mute. So what's important for you?
So I have a design background, so this is like bread and butter for me. I also happen to be both a visionary and a catalytic firecracker. So whenever I design something new, whether it's, a more traditional training course or, a more evolved program, I always start with, what does the end state look like? And how will I know that the participants are successful? And then once I have that defined, then depending on the nature of the program, and it's very different between coaching and training, how you get there, the tools that you use, and who's the driver, they're very different. But then you start thinking about, how do I get from point A to point B? And that's where it gets really interesting. And that's where these other pieces of the puzzle, like, connection and having all those neurological pieces in mind when creating the experience, it gets very interesting. But I always have to start with the end state first. It's just the way my brain is wired, so that I know that, if I picture this, person or group of people in mind, what's it going to look like 6 months from now? How am I supposed to know that they're successful? What am I going to see? What am I going to hear? What's it going to look like? And I always start there, and then I work backwards.
I was like Stephen Covey's trademark statement: start with the end in mind. Start with the end in mind. Yeah. Ivana or Mary Garrett, anything you want to add? Where do you want to start, Mary Garrett?
Well, I'm doing a ton of, for one client, I'm doing trying to get the systems to work together better. So multi-system work, right? Which is what I've done for so long. And and then the other one, I'm working with the leadership team, and it's defined as professional development, but I'm also coaching them. So that's informing all of this. So I feel like I'm thinking about the purpose, and I feel like there's a lot in the 6 layers of connection that I'm already doing. And then I like the ERGA model. I also am really working with David Rock's Aegis model. So really spacing out. So when I'm doing proposals, I'm talking about the importance of spacing out for learning. But I think some of the feedback I'm getting, and it's just in one, like it's like one person that keeps hitting it, right? That my superpowers are the Spiral Lighthouse and the Culture Wizard. And so I think that there's things I'm missing for certain people in the space, right?
Mhm.
Because that's my go-to style. And so I think that's what I need to think about a little bit more. And as I'm planning one, I'm thinking about moving the table group later to give more content up front. So like, what can I do to accommodate those different styles and make changes?
And you've totally hit what we talk about in the coaching diverse teams and groups. How do we adjust, adapt, modify for the reality of who is in the room? And then how do we grow our capabilities? So yeah, if we can't bring it, who else do we bring in? Or what feedback are we seeking? Earlier today, I was speaking to this ICF chapter, and it was really about expanding the range, right? It truly is. How do you expand the range as a coach as we grow? Initially, we think it's like one, but it's actually like this and like this. So mastery is an ongoing focus. It's not something we acquire in a day, a week, a year, even a decade, right? I think as coaches, it's an ongoing art form that we work with, and design is part of the structure that helps us create this as art rather than just a hodgepodge. So, Miss Ivana, what are you thinking about? Anything you want to share about how this relates to what you're designing?
Yeah, thank you, Jen, and thank you everyone for your beautiful contribution. For me, I'm kind of I've got 2 projects in mind, and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty good here and I'm pretty good here and I need to go back. So I'm kind of like, where am I in the volume and where to focus? And for me, what really clicked for me, quite honestly, full transparency, is I finally got this whole styles piece. Like I've been drawing a blank, even in terms of how I talk about it with our participants. And so to me, I'm really kind of wanting to lean in and learn more. Like I'm a builder and great, but if it's from a standpoint of what do our participants needs, like we need to look at it from that standpoint. It's so what if I'm a builder? If they don't need a builder, then guess what? Like how do I adapt to who's in my conversation? So superpowers, hip, hip, hooray. Took the superpower course, feel like I'm a bit more armed. But now I'm really wanting to lean in and asking, when is the diverse team styles and team coming up? Because that's what I want in on. Like it's really,
Well, yeah.
And I love the connection piece too, Jen, in terms of that link to that course. Sorry, to that live call for the 6 layers.
The 6 layers. Yeah. Like I think, and thank you again. I think, we all gravitate to who we are, and that's superpowers. But now let's really flip the table and think about who we're working with. So we do have, we're just wrapping up actually our end of the coaching diverse teams and groups, as we call it. And it comes out of the work styles quiz, which is a different quiz. You can take it like superpowers, you'll get a report. But again, that focus is like more on how do people work in the workspace. So it comes under very much the whole umbrella of reconnecting workspaces, which is all about connection. Back to that. So I will include in the link on the YouTube video description, the link to the 6 layers call, which probably goes back to 2021. And I'll also include a link to the Coaching Diverse Teams and Groups, which is also another 14 CCE program, right? So you might take it, you know, we do ask that you've completed the essentials and the practicum to have that baseline, but it is something that we're finding a lot of people do get great value from, especially because it puts you in the practitioner lens of who am I working with today and who am I designing for?
And
Yeah.
I think that's fundamental. Like to me, it really clicked. Like, you know, it's like, I've got these great ideas. I've got like, I mean, like even the book that I did in the last design sprint, some of the framework for my book. But when you talked about the style today, I'm like, hold on, like, so what? So what? Like, it's not the what, so what, now what? Like, what does the reader that I'm trying to attract to this book? Although the purpose is clear, what is it that they need for this to be effective? Like, this is fundamental in design. And so, and I know this, but for the purpose of people watching this class, like all these programs that you see here, Reconnecting Workspaces, Superpowers, Diverse House, those are the courses towards our team ACTC pathway, you know, and it's also the courses for the group coaching certification, that a certificate that we're offering. So I think these are, because these are the building blocks to really having an impact as a group and or team coach, whether you're wanting to do the ACTC or not. This is the growth of us in our own growth journey as group and team coaches.
Yeah. And, you know, to distill it down to the core, right? Everyone will hear my voice in that from 15 years ago. We got to distill it down. If you really distill it down, what do we need to think about? You've all said something different, which I think is really amazing, right? And I'll be the advocate for the experiential, because it is, how do we create an experience that only you and your clients can have together, right? It's a alchemy. It's a you know, back to catalyst, right? We don't know what gets catalyzed with two different elements coming together, but there's something very magical in that. So thank you, as always. That is it for today. And we are back, I want to say 14th and 28th, but we'll just put it out in the newsletter and on LinkedIn, etc. We're only going to do 2 calls next month, but they'll still be good. So I look forward to hearing what you're up to in the first 5-10 minutes that we don't necessarily record. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But we'll look forward to continuing to serve you here at Potentials Realized. So please scan the QR code. I'm actually going to just move ourselves off that. I think that QR code goes to the pretty sure it's the quiz code for the styles, which is why I put it down there. So if you haven't taken the styles quiz, click on over, and it's coming back in a day-and-a-half format in mid-July. I think it's the 23rd through 25th of July. So I'll do that whether people join me live at the lake or join me virtually. So you can do either. All right, everyone, have a great day. We'll see you soon. I'm going to stop the recording. Ivana, do you want to hang on in?
Sure.
Okay.
Once you stop the recording, Stephanie's asked if the mentor coaching that is listed on the site from May to July is still available.
From May to July, there are still,
running?
there's definitely, it's running, and there's only like 2 spots left. So if you want in, indicate interest. Steph looks like she's indicating interest right now. You're in, okay.
Sign up right now.
And
I'll
I'm
do it right now.
mentor coaching for the fall.
The fall, there'll be 2 in September for sure. So first Friday of September, I think it's like September 5th or 4th or something, and that will run to the first week of December. And then we know that there's typically stragglers who forget. And then so there'll be one starting the 3rd Monday of September. I don't have the date in front of me, but it will finish just before the Christmas holidays. So about the 3rd week of December. So those will be the 2 offerings to start. We typically then also add an October date and sometimes even a November date. So I would suggest aim for June, September, either option, Friday or Monday. And then we will add on as we need. And we are always happy to support coaches doing one-on-one, group or team, right? You don't have to be a group or team coach, but we do speak quite a bit of that. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. I'm going to stop the recording. See